Hello everyone! It is I, Ryan, also known as thelovebat. And so, I'm going to jump right into it here. I am back for another draft video in Magic the Gathering Arena, the wonderful card game, and we're going to go ahead and do ourselves another draft here with the Baldur's Gate set in the Alchemy format. So, we're going to go and do another Premier draft this time. We did a traditional draft, which is a best-of-3 format last time. It's a bit more difficult to have it be self-sustaining with the gem generation when you do a traditional draft. You have to kind of you have to go 3-0 against your opponents in order to be able to have the gems kind of be self-sustaining here. But traditional draft is great because you get the sideboard options, obviously. But I'm going to go with a premier draft here, which is best of 1 against 7 other players, and you have to hope that you get to 7 wins. So let's go ahead and just get straight on into it then, and let's see how this deck does and see how fast it takes to find a table. And if it takes a while, then I'm just going to go ahead and pause the recording here. And it took no time at all. So let's just go ahead and hop right into the third Baldur's Gate draft for myself and see how this deck does. Okay, so we have some pretty good choices here. Some really good choices. We can do, like, I've done it the past 2 times, but Liara is just a really good card. Liara the Flaming Fist. Thyan Evokers is a really good card. It's a double team card. You get lots of lightning bolts, and you can just do lots of good things with this. Good removal, double team. You can do, lots of instance and sorcery type stuff, or just removal and controlling the battlefield. It's a really good card, but I don't think I would want to first pick it because blue is usually not one of my favorite colors in this set. Servok is very good and has very good specialized abilities to pump a creature and get secondary effects there. Stalwart's good for the sort of white or blue-white blink deck. Rabble Rouser, great aggro card. Dragon is good for aggro, good for the dragon deck as well for fixing. Inspiring Bard, good for life gain. Ettercap, Owlbear, all very good. I'm going to go with Liara the Flaming Fist. It's 2 color. Servok is a safer pick, but Liara is just so good in any sort of red deck. And you can splash it as well if you have double team cards or cards that you want to give double team. Very splashable card. Okay, so we have a black dragon here, which is a nice top-end dragon card. And Liara the Flaming Fist, it can do pretty well in a dragon deck if you just give a dragon double team after you get it onto the field. And then you can just give a nice big fat dragon double team, give yourself extra gas, extra into the battlefield effects of dragons, or just nice big fat beefy creatures to get onto the field. The Orb of Dragonkind would be very good in a dragon deck, giving them haste to ramp into them. Ambergris is solid but not spectacular from my experience in my last draft. It's most of the time it's a 3/2 haste for 3 kind of creature. This is good for the blink deck. Sewer Plague is good removal. Sepulchral Ghoul is good for red-black sacrifice. Mycon is probably the safest pick if I want to get dragons, but I'm going to go with a black dragon here and hope I can play a dragon deck and then hope that I wheel one of the other cards that's good for a dragon deck, and then maybe I can splash Liara with white mana to try and do some kind of double team dragon action. Okay, so we have a rare here. What does this do? Enter the battlefield, choose a creature type. Okay, so if we get a bunch of dragon cards, this could be an interesting card for a dragon deck. You just play a bunch of dragons and you draw cards. I can maybe hope to wheel that because getting a single creature type is going to be a bit difficult in this format unless you're playing dragons. Morden's Disciples is a good double team card, good with Liara. Dawnbringer Cleric and Devoted Paladin, good in white. We have some good blue cards here, though, so maybe that's just a sign that we should try and go blue. And Young Blue Dragon is still a really good card. It's a 5-drop, but it gets him some card draw to buy time. Good with Liara the Flaming Fist because double team allows you to go ahead and play your adventure cards on the adventure side as well. So it's kind of like 2-for-1 value if you have adventure cards with double team. Dream Fracture, that's an interesting card. You can draw a card, but they draw a card too, so you don't only want to use it on something that's very strong. That could be interesting in a dragon deck if we get some legendary dragons, or maybe we can copy Liara of the Flaming Fist and give double pump if we have multiple creature types. I mean, if we're going for a top-end deck with lots of like dragon-type things, this could actually be pretty strong. You just make a copy of a really strong creature here, and then just get in there with like flying dragons or... Yeah, I agree with this pick, actually. This is a pretty good card if we want to go like a top-end deck with dragons and splash Liara. Alright, so there's not too much here. We do have a dragon card for 1-drop dragon. You can loot with this and try and... You don't usually want to mitigate flood in a dragon deck because usually that helps you get out your big creatures and it helps you to have some mana left over for specializing some cards if you have any specialized creatures in your deck. But it's still solid in the mid to late game if you want to try and draw some action with a cheap 1-drop. Arcane Archery is decent in a dragon deck since you usually want to get some green ramp and fixing. I'll just go with the dragon card here and see if we can just try and make a dragon deck work, and then maybe we can wheel that 5 mana enchantment that draws this card if we play dragons or something like that. Let's see if this will work out for us. Okay, so some good life gain deck cards here if we want to try and pivot. I mean, it is a sign that the life gain deck is open, and it's probably safer because we don't really have anything in blue here that's really all that great. We do have some black cards here, but none of them are really great. Cloak of the Bat could give something on the ground flying. Blur is good for the blink deck, but not really. I mean, we could protect a dragon from removal with this and then get another into the battlefield effect like Black Dragon. I don't know, maybe this is the pick. It's probably not right, but I could see getting some dragons out there that we'd want to save from removal and then get it back out there and get another into the battlefield effect. Alright, so we have Goggles of Night. We have some more white cards coming around, but I think that Monk of the Open Hand would be good with Liara if you can get multiples of the Monk, but it is an uncommon, so getting multiples of them is not a guarantee. But this could actually be pretty good in our deck because we have lots of flying creatures, and drawing into action it could actually be pretty good for us. So we have some dragons that fly, and so we can probably get some more dragons at some point. There's a number of common dragons that we can find. Okay, so Young Red Dragon, I will take that and be happy with it. Red is red, blue, and green are usually the dragon colors, and the treasure can help us splash like a Liara or get double black for Black Dragon in the late game. So I'm pretty happy with this, and maybe we can be lucky and wheel that 5 mana blue enchantment that can draw us cards. I forget which pack it's in, so I'm not sure when I need to expect it. Alright, so let's go for another dragon here. Let's see if we can make this dragon deck work. We have a pretty good Arenicus' Vile Duplication here that can go pretty well with duplicating dragons here. So let's just go over in the dragon plan then. See if we can make a multicolor dragon deck work here. Another Blur would be okay, but I think Unexpected Windfall might be a good target here to pick up, because we want to go ahead and presumably splash some other colors and just play multicolor madness with dragons, and this can help us do that, as well as just drawing action and maybe discarding a land that we don't need. Alright, so it doesn't look like, I don't think that the 5 mana enchantment came back. That's unfortunate, but that's kind of, it is a rare, so maybe someone else thought they could make it work with some kind of deck. Let's just take Blur here because that can save a creature from removal. Maybe Dream Fracture's playable. This might be more playable too, or more playable because you don't have them draw a card though. Let's just play this counterspell because we don't want them drawing into action. And we're probably not going to play either of these. Cloak of the Bat's not bad. We might be able to get like a Dread Lenorm, a 7/6 beefy green creature, and then we can give it flying maybe with Cloak of the Bat. Black Market Connection's not really what I'm looking for, but it's good for treasure generation because you can easily ramp and splash with this card. Let's see, we have Grim Bounty in black. I'm not sure if I'm main decking black, though. It depends. But then again, that would mean black market connections, maybe not the best. There are some good white cards here. If I want to try and pivot into white, it did seem open. But this can help us ramp into big dragons. It can fix for dragons. It can draw cards to try and draw into dragons. So maybe this is just the best play to ramp into our dragon play. And then maybe if we can get some green and get the 2 mana Dragonborn ramp card or whatever it is, 2 mana green dragon that ramps and gets you life with dragons, then maybe we can do that to mitigate the black market. Alright, so we have some more black cards here. Dragonborn Emulator is a dragon, and it's a nice sort of good curve kind of card. Very good value for what you get out of it. And then you can give a dragon a boost if it ends up dying and you trade it off with something. So let's just do more dragons and see if we can go for dragon synergies. Pseudo Dragon Familiar would be good on the wheel. Maybe Sewer Plague on the wheel might be okay if we want to go more heavy into black than red. And then Basilisk is a good early game blocker in green. Yep, let's just go and do this. Thrakkus, my friend. Alright, this is the perfect deck for Thrakkus. This is definitely a card worth splashing in a dragon deck. We are very multicolor heavy, but we have 2 young red dragons for treasures. We have Unexpected Windfall for some fixing there as well. Goggles of Night can draw us cards to try and draw into better mana. We have Black Market Connections for fixing and ramps. So this is a perfect deck for Thrakkus. We can definitely splash this one. And if we get some good green cards, like the ramp type cards, then we can go ahead and get green as maybe a main color here. Okay, so there aren't any dragons here that I can see. We do have another Liara of the Flaming Fist if I still want to splash one of those. And Rendicus's Vile Duplication might also be good here. We can just get another one of these. We can go ahead and maybe copy Thrakkus and then have it pump 2 times because the copy wouldn't be legendary. That sounds actually pretty good to us. We do need some more early game plays. We have a Liara, and we can have a Dragonborn Looter for at least a 1-drop that can maybe draw us some action there. So being able to copy top-end cards with this is a pretty good play. Okay, so there's lots of white cards once again. It's too late for us to pivot into white, even though we could have had a pretty good white sort of deck here. Yeah, there's no dragon cards. Red and black don't have any good cards. Eyes of the Beholder is better because it only costs 5 mana now instead of 6, and we do have ways to ramp into this removal. So maybe this can just be a surefire way to get rid of maybe an opposing bomb card, and since we have black market connections, the young red dragon, maybe we can have the treasures to play this without as many problems. Alright, so Summon Undead would be good for getting a dragon onto the battlefield, one of the big dragons. Under Simplify is a very good counterspell here if we want to try and out-tempo the opponent, and maybe we can slow them down with like a counterspell. Yeah, Under Simplify is a good sort of tempo type card to buy us time. So let's go and go with the counterspell here. They're not usually that good in this limited formats because there aren't as many like awesome bomb cards for you to worry about countering, but because it gives them -2/-0 even if they pay 2 mana, then basically even if they pay the 2 mana, they get a debuff to whatever they play. Alright, so there's nothing too much here. Maybe Unexpected Allies for the double team here might be good for some of the dragons that we have, but I'm not probably going to play it. Maybe Lantern of Revealing is a good sort of ramp card that can fix for us, so let's go and take this one. Armor of Shadows is a good combat trick in black, but I don't even know if we're main decking black, and we need black mana for that, so let's just go and take the fixing and ramp. Fireball's halfway decent removal here, and we have treasure generation across the board here, so, and ramping elements, so we could possibly play this on turn 4, get rid of one of the opponent's beefy creatures, and fly over the top of dragons after that. I'm fine with another Fireball. Dueling Rapier would be halfway decent in this deck, because you put this on a dragon and it can go through for a lot of damage over the top, but I think Fireball is still better. We're kind of lacking removal options right now, so we kind of need it. Near a Wild Mage wheels, but I'm not really interested in this because we don't have... This is more of a constructed card, if anything, so I'm just going to take the Prophetic Prism that fixes and draws a card. Near is definitely more of a constructed card. I guess I'll just take this as a random counterspell. Devoted Paladin's the best card there. It's pretty decent in other decks. None of these really matter at the end here. We have all the counter spells that we want. Okay, well, we have a couple of options here. We have 3 dragon cards, and they're all very good. Dread the Norm is great, and we can definitely splash this because even though the adventure ability would be a bit more difficult to do, this is a nice big fat dragon that we can also copy with Vile Duplication here. And it can't be chump blocked, basically, so yeah, it's a very good card. The fact that we're not main decking green isn't really a problem here because we have many ways to fix for it right now. Maybe Liara the Flaming Fist gets cut because a 2-drop to splash is a bit more difficult to do. We'd be doing it more for the double team ability. Juvenile Mist Dragon is great, but Thrakkus is just too great in the dragon deck, and we can definitely fix for that one in a 5-drop, so I'll just go ahead and take that one here. Scaled Nurture is just what we want. Obviously, the Young Blue Dragon is a safer pick because if we're splashing green or not main decking green, then obviously the 2-mana dragon here that's in green is a bit more difficult to cast, but we already have a number of high-end dragons in plays, so let's just go for the more upside pick that can ramp us into dragon cards and gain us life and help us to race the opponent. Arcane Archery, Jaheira, Dream Fracture. We have some interesting options here. Charmed Sleep is some removal. Jaheira is easily the best card here. What does blue do? You can destroy artifact enchantment, scry 2. Have them lose life. Give something haste. Not sure if Jaheira on the splash is going to be all that great, so maybe we just get some removal and Charmed Sleep. This is easily the best card, but it's not what our deck really wants, and we have to discard for the Specialize. And there's not many high-end cards that I would want to discard instead, so... Alrighty then, so we can do Fiend Lash again. This can actually be pretty strong on one of our beefier dragons if we can get this attached to them and equip them. We can fly over the top with like a young red dragon, and then even if they use removal on it, then we can deal a bunch of damage to them. Pseudo Dragon Familiar is a dragon, but we have enough creature cards already, I think. I guess we're kind of light on creatures, but it's not necessarily the best dragon, but it is a dragon. Fiend Lash just has more upside with the big fat dragons that might get targeted with removal. Okay, I guess Sewer Plague's the best of the removal cards here. Gate of the Black Dragon, we don't really want this as a black card to splash, or to play black mana, basically. Because you have to go ahead, you have to have black mana to activate this, so it's basically just a tapped swamp most of the time in our deck. So let's just get the removal that we might splash and consider. Dragonborn Immolator is really good for our deck, so let's get another one. And so yeah, I think that red will probably be a main color, maybe blue, depends. We'll see though, this is a pretty good dragon card though, so let's just go with this, and we're definitely a higher end deck. Oh, Reckless Barbarian could be pretty good here, the ramp elements. Imolan may be the best card here because you can attack in with it and you can just get some free damage in. And then you can specialize it to get some small effects here at the very least. They're not great effects, in my opinion, but they are decent. So we have the Reckless Barbarian for ramping a bit more. Another dragon card, but it's not exactly the best one. I mean, if we have a big fat dragon out already, then we could do that. But I think this one's the safest bet because it's a colorless dragon. So we're going to be able to play that no matter what. Maybe Hypnotic Pattern might make the deck if we need to slow down an aggro deck or something. I don't know. Probably not going to play it. I guess I'll just go ahead and... yeah, Jaded Sellsword, we're not going to play that, I don't think, so let's just go and take the Naga here for the vault, since I don't know if we have any copies of that. And I guess we'll just take an uncommon for the vault here. And then just some random cards here. We'll just take with the worst one. Well, the worst one's probably gray slots, so let's just take that one. Take this for the vault. And there we go. Alright, so this is an interesting dragon deck. Not an ideal dragon deck by any means. You'd definitely be more heavy on green for an ideal dragon deck, and we didn't wheel the 5 mana blue enchantments, and we didn't wheel the we didn't really wheel any of the green cards that could help us out here. We want to be more heavy on green, ideally, in the dragon deck for the ramp and fixing. We didn't see I don't believe that we saw a Myconid in the draft. I could be wrong. But I don't remember seeing a Myconid that would have been able to fix very well for us if we mained green as a color. So Hypnotic Pattern probably doesn't make the main deck here. Cloak of the Bat, I don't think we need that one. Maybe 2 blurs is a bit excessive there. I guess Fireball is probably better removal than Eyes of the Beholder, and double red is probably going to be easier to play in this if red is a main color. Let's get rid of a couple of counter spells here that we're probably not going to play all of them anyway. So what to cut here? Let's see. Reckless Barbarian is good here because it can ramp us into some of the bigger cards and be like a chump blocker as well if we need it. Liara, we probably can't splash this one as a 2-drop, so we're not going to do that one, and we remove white from the mana pool needs. Well, I'm going to go and pause the recording here real quick so I can once again blow my nose just like the last draft that I did, but I'll be right back. Well, there must be something in the weather or something in the water that I'm drinking or something, but yeah, sometimes I just get kind of stuffy during some of these videos. My nose just needs to let it all out, and I need to clear my sinuses and clear my throat a little bit, so apologies for the delay. So anyway, maybe Skilled Nurture isn't what we need here. It's a 2-drop that we can't really get reliably. We can't really get green mana out early, so maybe we just skip out on the awesome card for our deck, but it's not really good for our mana pool. Like, this is perfect for a dragon deck, but we're not main decking green. We just don't have enough green cards for that. We only have the Thrakuses that we can definitely splash later, as far as like the curve goes. Yeah, we don't have any early plays though without the, I don't know, maybe you have to do the Scale Nurture and hope I can get like a way to fix to get it out there, because we don't have many early game plays here. Maybe I can just cut some of the black cards though and then play blue, red main and then splash green and black. Because you don't necessarily have to play this on like turn 3, because then you can lose a lot of life if you don't have anything to play in your hand. Maybe the counterspell is not good enough. Undersimplify for 2 mana is good when they play like a 3-drop or a 4-drop and they try and curve out and you can counterspell it and they don't have any leftover mana for it. So you have a Dragonborn Looter, Scaled Nurture, and Reckless Barbarian for early game creatures, and then we don't really have any 3-drop creatures. We're kind of having to ramp into 4-drops and 5-drops here. Then we have to rely on Vial Duplication to go and give us extra creatures to work with, because we don't have any creatures, but 12 creature count is a bit low, but Vial Duplication can give you extra strong creatures, so it's a pretty good card, and it kind of adds to a creature count somewhat, but it's more of a high-end card where you copy like a strong creature. We can copy a Thrakkus, we can copy these 2 high-end dragons, we can copy the Immolator, which is a pretty good copy target. Young Blue Dragon's decent for that. Yeah, making cuts on this deck is kind of hard because I really want to play a dragon deck, but it's kind of hard to make the mana base work for the cards that I want. We lose a creature if we cut this, but we have to play more green if we do that. Maybe we cut the Sewer Plague. Maybe we can't really splash that card reliably and it's removal, so we need the mana left over for it. Yeah, maybe we have to cut the Scale Nurturer. I don't want to, but we have Prism for fixing. We have Lantern of Revealing for ramp. Black Market Connections can ramp. Young Red Dragon can ramp. Unexpected Windfall can ramp a little bit. Yeah, we could get run over by the aggro decks with this one, so I am kind of concerned that we don't have enough early game creatures to work with here. Maybe I could have drafted a little bit more of early game kind of dragons instead of drafting the Vial Duplications and the other higher end cards that, admittedly, in some of the packs that we had, there weren't any like lower end kind of creatures except for maybe the Pseudo Dragon Familiar was the 3-drop that maybe could have helped out our deck a lot, but well, I definitely want removal because we are going to need to buy time here. So Fireball, Charm Sleep. Not much in the way of removal, but we have lots in the way of top end and flying creatures, so we have some ramp with Reckless Barbarian. Can buy time with Undersimplify and Charm Sleep early. This isn't something that you really want to play out as a 2-drop, but we could maybe get in with a Young Red Dragon on turn 4, or I don't know. Maybe we can play Young Red Dragon turn 3 if we get out the treasure token, then maybe turn 4 we can play the goggles, then equip it onto Young Red Dragon and attack. I don't know, maybe Blurs just isn't good enough here. It does draw a card. It kind of, I don't know if we would really want to protect any of our early game plays, but in the later game, it could be decent to protect a big fat dragon. And it draws a card. Yeah, let's enter the battlefield, so that would work with the Blur. I guess it's not quite as good with our adventure dragons that we have, because then we can't, like, if you return it to your hand, you might get a chance to go and play out the adventure side. I can't quite remember if it works that way or not, but I don't know, maybe we just need to go in the fly over the top plan here. I don't want to cut young red dragons because splashing with treasure tokens is helpful. Maybe blur isn't good enough here and I just have to rely on the ramp elements to get up to the 4 drops and the 5 drops here. Maybe that just has to be our plan. We don't have the green mana to support getting this out reliably on turn 2 to ramp, so... And then I think we'll just go with 1 green. Maybe 2 black can work, and then maybe do this for the mana base, so that way we have... A Pilgrim's Eye would have made this deck a lot better, but you gotta take what you can get. We have this for fixing, this for fixing, this can fix with treasures, this can fix with treasures, this can fix with treasures, so that's looking good. And then let's see, this can draw us cards, this can loot through and draw cards, this can draw some cards. Okay, so card draw isn't looking too bad, and this can draw us cards in a pinch. And then Lantern of Revealing can try and loot through to mitigate flood if you feel like you want to try and draw through to something nice or to get rid of the lands. I guess if you have like 3 or 4 mana and you really need a land, then maybe you can activate this ability to try and get into bigger dragons next turn, maybe. Yeah, the curve is a little awkward, as you can see here. We have some equipments here as well, so we don't really have many early game creatures here, so we could get run over by the aggro decks, but we do have Undersimplify, we do have Charm Sleep, we do have Ramp, so we can try and get into the bigger dudes as soon as we can, so... And then as far as double color, we have Charm Sleep, which is double blue, and then later on we have some double red. Double black, probably not as much of an issue because by then we should have some treasures. Treasures or these fixing artifacts. Could go with 1 less swamp and then maybe do another red mana. I think that by the time we get to the late game, I mean, Black Market Connections, we do want black mana for that. But if we get more red, then we're more likely to be able to go ahead and do the treasure from Young Red Dragon and then maybe play out the black mana that way. So this, and this potentially can splash that black mana. So yeah, I think that 1 black in here is okay. We have enough treasure generation to make the Black Market Connections work. This can also create treasures on its own, but you have to have the black mana in the first place to get it out. So we're going to rely on our other ways to fix here to be able to get it out, and more red means that we have more likelihood of having red mana for this to fix. And more likely to have red mana for a Reckless Barbarian to ramp into our bigger stuff, so... Yep, I think this is what we're going to have to go with and be happy about it and hope that we can ramp into the higher end stuff, so... I hope that everyone's enjoying it, and I'll go ahead and see you for the first match. Alright, so got the first opponent pretty quickly here, but let's see how this dragon deck does. Okay, so I'm glad that I have lots of red mana because not an ideal hand, but we can keep it. We have at least the Reckless Barbarian that can maybe ramp into something that we draw into. Fiend Lash is also not bad turn 2, then maybe we can just turn 3 Reckless Barbarian if we want to, but... Okay, so blue is nice. If we get like a Prophetic Prism on the draw here, then I'll probably play that turn 2 to try and draw into some more blue mana, or maybe a big fat dragon to ramp into. Okay, so I think here I'm just going to go ahead and play out the Reckless Barbarian, and if nothing else, maybe we can attack if they don't draw or do another creature here. If they don't play out another creature and then they attack with their druid, then I'll probably just go ahead and take this, save my Dragon Barbarian here for some ramp. Young Blue Dragon's not bad. If I play the blue mana, I could just hard cast this blue dragon here, but they might have removal waiting for me if I do that. Safest play is I just draw and scry with the Young Blue Dragon and just attack in with Reckless Barbarian. Then turn 4 I can Unexpected Windfall and then see what I want to play after that to eat the removal. Yeah, let's do that. Let's see what we draw here. I don't think that Dragonborn Looter is what we're looking for, so I'm going to bottom that one. Vile Duplication, on the other hand, can be quite good. So let's get in here with our Reckless Barbarian. And if they have removal, then what I can do is I can sacrifice it, and then don't really have any instant speed spells now with the Young Blue Dragon already played with the adventure side, but I mean, I'm happy to take 2 here. We have some top-end cards that can probably help win us the game here. If they're going to play out sort of mid... I mean, Hippogriff is a great creature, but it's more of an aggro card, so it doesn't look like they're an aggro deck, so... So, if I discard a card, then what would I discard? If I were to play the Windfall, maybe I can discard Charmed Sleep because we don't really have... Like, they don't have any creatures out just yet that we'd want to Charmed Sleep. And Lantern of Revealing fixes for the green, for Thrakkus. Yeah, maybe we just go ahead and, like, hard cast Windfall here and see what we get. And then we discard the Charmed Sleep, I guess. Okay, Prism's not bad. I'm just gonna go ahead and... I'm just gonna have to buy time here and hope that I can go ahead and get to my big stuff. Yep, they're gonna attack in here for 4. They might have a combat trick to give them a bit more damage, but I doubt they'll use it. The way that priority is being held, it seems like they have something instant speed in their hands, so... The reason why I'm getting priority is because I can sacrifice my Reckless Barbarian, so... Our opponent probably knows that, and they're not sure what I have in my hand or anything, so... This can also splash the green mana as well. We can do the Treasure, then Thrakkus, and then attack with the Barbarian. Maybe incentivize them to trade. If we're going to incentivize them to trade, though, maybe we attack first, and then we can sacrifice it, and then play the red mana for the treasure token. I don't know, we'd probably want to do that blocking, though, if we wanted to do that. Let's play out a land, and then... I think we want to incentivize them to trade and just hard cast the Thrakkus here. Yep, let's pay this. And let's see if they want to trade with this or not. I'm okay if they want to trade here. And then maybe I shouldn't have played that out because I have to attack with a Thrakkus to get the buff. I think that playing the Prophetic Prism here is probably the play. We can just draw a card right now. Okay. We We get our black mana for Black Dragon, so that's good. Could have sacrificed Reckless Barbarian to get the Fiend Lash out, but what I probably want to do is I want to attach that to Thrakkus when they attack. So that way, even if they have removal on it, then we're still going to be looking good. So we're in a bit of a racing situation, but we have a young blue dragon to get out here that can block for us, so... Okay, so that's a 5/4, but we can potentially deal with that if we draw something here. Oh, that's gonna hurt. Yeah, that might have ended up killing us there because the life loss is a bit too much. We have to really get in there. Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. We have a lot of mana here, but what we don't have is the ability to prevent all this damage. Lantern of Revealing would have been good if I could have gotten that out and then have an extra mana this turn for 7, but... I mean, we could duplicate Thrakkus and just attack in, but then they'll just chump block with a Circle of the Land Druid. Yeah, we need a flyer out. So let's just go ahead and hard cast this dragon here. Get the flying blocker out, and then we can, I guess, duplicate the young red dragon to try and prevent them from killing us here. Let's auto pay and sacrifice Barbarian. And then, yeah, I think we're probably still dead here. Yeah, I think sacrificing the Barbarian and losing a blocker there's going to prevent us from winning. Oh well, let's just go YOLO and good games. If we had one more turn, then maybe we might have been able to get in there and go over the top, but... GG, it's okay. You know, you win some, you lose some, especially when you're in a Dragon Ramp deck. It's kind of a risky deck to have, so... Alright, well, we still get a little bit of gold there for maybe helping me to get some more gold for the future drafts and paying for that in case I don't do well with this deck. I forgot to name my deck here, and I'll do that, and then I'll get back to the next match here. So, multicolored dragon madness. Okay, enough of my very odd-sounding voice doing the 24. Oh, come on. I guess we'll just remove the spaces. Multicolor Dragon Madness! Alright, I will go ahead and see you guys for the next match here, and I'll pause the recording, and I'll see you then. Never mind. No pausing necessary. They were waiting for us. Not the first time I've been interrupted and deciding if I'm going to pause the recording or not, but yeah, let's just go ahead and do this. So I think this is a keep. We can counterspell maybe a 3-drop of our 2 open mana when they're on their 3rd turn. We can play out Barbarian. And then maybe we can get this out on turn 4 and then ramp by sacrificing this on turn 5 or something. We too will match you in your red mana, Mistakey Jakey. Let's highlight the mountains. Highlight the mountains. There we go. Okay, so it looks like they're taking some time deciding on what they want to play here. I don't know, there's not really any 1 mana red removal, so I'm not sure if they're worried about us destroying a creature here, but... we'll pass, and we'll undersimplify whatever creature they play this turn. If not, then we'll let them go ahead and play that, I guess. They cycle it to draw a card. Let's see if they play a 3-drop here. If they do, then I'll counter it. Unless it's low impact, like if it's... I don't know. There aren't too many low impact cards that are 3-drops in green and red, but... exile top 3 cards of Totem's library. Yeah, I'll let them do it. We have some top-end dragon cards, but they don't have enough mana for that 6-mana dragon, so that's not going to be a problem. They might just play out the land here. So if they want to play that, that's okay. Yeah, so they'll probably either go with Lantern of Revealing, which kind of sucks because we want the black mana for the black dragon, or the mountain. I would hazard a guess and say that they play the mountain next turn because it's free and they're red-green. So now what do we want to do with this? I mean, I kind of want to leave up Undersimplify mana. So let's just go ahead and play some red here and pass the turn. We're kind of slow playing it because we need to go ahead and buy time with Undersimplify here. And we need to counter whatever big creature that they play out first, and then we can get in there with our own creature. The opponent probably knows that, and they might just play like a 2-drop here. Yeah, I'm okay with them doing that. And then I'll just play this out as an instant and get a treasure and see what we get. Okay, so because I had the young red dragon in hand, they might have think that maybe I was holding that with priority just in case. Though it wouldn't have made sense for me to not play anything on turn 2 if that was the case, so maybe they think that I have Undersimplify and they're holding off on casting their big creatures because of that. Maybe waiting until they have more mana to pay the extra cost. Alright, so I think this is the point in time where we have the black dragon that can potentially get rid of something. We have Unexpected Windfall that can discard a land and then get the treasures for this and the black mana. So I think it's time to go ahead and play the Immolator and get something on the board and force them to have something for it. Maybe they play a creature in response to get past us not having any open mana. If I played Reckless Barbarian, I would have had open mana for Undersimplify here, and that could have been better, but we need a threatening creature out, I think. Elendil the Seer, they can draw a card. And yeah, it's basically a card advantage kind of card, so that's not bad, but we have Vile Duplication for Black Dragon, maybe. I don't know if you get the extra trigger from the Vile Duplication or not on the end of the battlefield abilities, but we can find out, I guess. I don't know technically how that works, but... So what we can do is we can do this. I don't know if we can attack into there with... Yeah, 4/4 creature wouldn't be enough. Then again, I do have the treasure and I can still threaten to do that. Yeah, let's at least threaten to be able to kill this and just attack in here. And then we can do the Windfall and then discard the, I don't know, maybe the Reckless Barbarian isn't really necessary now. It's just a random 2-drop at this point, so... Unexpected Windfall will ramp on its own, and it gives us the ramp that we need for the Black Dragons, so... And I think I'll just end the turn here and leave up Undersimplify mana if they cast anything big. Looks like they're going to do the card advantage thing here. So yeah, if they cast something big here, I don't know. If they cast something without its mana cost being paid, then they'll have mana open for Undersimplify, but I can still debuff it with Undersimplify though. Or the Exile and OG. Okay, so they're going to try and pay it without paying the mana cost, I think, at some point. And that's how they're going to pay that mana. Alright, so we definitely want to undersimplify this, because we want the treasures for Black Dragon. I don't believe that they have the mana for the paying the 2. They don't have treasure, they don't have any other... They only have 1 mana available, so I don't know what they're doing here. Maybe I'm splitting up because of the resolve issue. Alright, now we have the mana to play the Black Dragon, but we can't really kill anything with it yet. But we could still duplicate it on the following turn. Let's go do this. Could pump the dragon, or I could just get out like Young Red Dragon. I could also duplicate Dragonborn Immolator. Let's see what we draw first here. I think I should still have enough mana left over. No, it'd only be 6. So I can draw into a land and still have enough mana to play the Black Dragon. Let's see how this goes. And if nothing else, we can play another dragon. Yeah, that's a good draw. Let's go and keep that. And then let's go ahead and just do this to keep our treasures. And then we'll attack in with this since they're not going to block, I think. And then I'm getting out dragons that they're going to use a removal on first, and then I can get out the Black Dragon later when there's a better target for the -3/-3. Because Alondo isn't attacking, and 5 toughness means that we can't really kill it unless we draw. If we had more removal like Dragon's Fire or some other spells like that, then we could have Black Dragoned and done that, but... Alright, so we have more mana here. And we bottom decked that 1/2 Dragonborn Looter or whatever it was, so we can't really... We don't really have any reason to hold lands in our hand, so... I mean, we can just keep on playing these other dragons first and then just kind of wait on them to see what they do. We can maybe do the treasure Young Red Dragon and then... Because we need 9 mana to get out both of these, so... Let's just do some... Or maybe we can just attack first. Let's see if we can kind of place them here. And let's play Young Blue Dragon and see what they do. Looks like they don't have any interaction just yet, so let's do this. They might wonder why I haven't played it hard cast of the treasures, so maybe they think I'm splashing something big that I'm not playing yet. Okay, that's a good target for the Black Dragon, so... They too have blue mana up here, but it's probably splashing for OG and all these other cards, so... I doubt that they have any counterspells in a deck that's splashing blue, because it's hard to have the mana open and reliably open to cast them in response, so I doubt they have counterspell magic here. I mean, I guess they have more than one blue source, so maybe they have counterspells in there and they're like blue, red, splashing green. Blue, red, splashing green, and white, and all these other things. Alright, so we have a good target for Black Dragon. We have plenty of mana for Undersimplify. They only have 1 blue, so they don't have the double blue counterspell open right now. Alright, so how much mana do we have? We have 8 lands and 3 treasures and 7 mana here, so... Yeah, let's just go ahead and play this, because even if they have Undersimplify, you can still pay the extra mana if they have it. Alright, so they don't. I'm going to kill the Iron Golem here and free the way. And then we can duplicate the Black Dragon this turn. We can also duplicate like a young blue dragon or dragonborn immolator to just get in more damage this turn. Or I guess they wouldn't have haste if we did that. So let's just attack and see what they do here. They do nothing, so let's just do the safe thing. There aren't, like... Dragon's Breath is the only sweeper effect that I know of, at least the major sweeper effect that I know of in this set. And it wouldn't hurt any of our creatures, so we can easily play out our dragon stuff here. We lose out on green mana for Thrakkus if we draw it, but we have duplication here that we can do twice, I think, and just run them over here. They have nothing to block with. There aren't any cards that I know of that would be an out for them at this point. Yep, so they didn't have any ways to be able to get past all of our dragons here, so that makes sense. So yeah, the ramp finally did its work there. We were able to get the treasure tokens out for the black dragon, and then we had some ace in the holes of copying dragons to just get in with some more gas, so... Pretty good deck. We went up against, like, I don't know if it was like red-blue, mid-range, splashing other colors for the strong rare cards. Or these strong legendary type cards. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on to the next match here. And I'll be back in one moment. Alright, so we've got our next opponent coming up here. Devograd. Wonder if they're like a college graduate or something like that. Okay, so our hand is probably a bit too slow. We can draw some cards, I guess, of Prophetic Prism on turn 2 and try and draw into some action. And at the very least, maybe I can turn 5 this. I mean, we're top-end deck, it's inevitable, and maybe just keeping the... keeping the hand that has 3 lands is still good enough. If we draw an Unexpected Windfall, this hand gets a lot better for splashing the Thrakkus mana. Or ramping into it while splashing for it. Prophetic Prism does splash the mana, but it eats up a mana as well, so you still need 5 mana in total. Alright, so let's see if we can draw into something here. Okay, Fireball is not a good draw. We need mana much more. We need mana, or maybe the Lantern, maybe. Right, so this is not bad. So this doesn't ramp, it only fixes, so we have to play the Goggles this turn, and then maybe next turn we can equip Dragonborn Immolator, or the... Play Dragonborn Immolator next turn, equip it on the following turn. Okay, so that's going to be a bit of a problem. We can't block both of them. We do have black mana, which is good. Let's just go and get out the Immolator here, and we can at least block one of these guys. Prevent them from getting 2 treasure tokens for free. Probably green-black sacrifice deck that gets some treasure tokens for like a Skullport Merchant or Deadly Disputes, and maybe the Baba the Saga card that's like the 4 mana green-black sacrifice stuff and do all kinds of madness. Alright, so Thrakkus, if they get a +2/+0, they could be pretty strong here. Granted, they're really playing out lots of stuff right now, but it's nothing that's too threatening on their own. Yeah, if they have Summon Undead for the Owlbears or the Baleful Beholder, then we're probably in trouble. Might have to hard cast the young blue dragon, maybe as a blocker that can eat removal. Baconia can exile the Immolator. I mean, we can cast the Thrakkus, but I think that the young blue dragon having the +2/+0 in the air is probably just better here. Plus we can equip the Goggles of Night to it and draw some cards. Try and win the race here. Alright, so that's not going to be good. They're going to sacrifice a Horde Robber. Nope, they're going to sacrifice one of those. Okay, well, that's what a top-end deck. They don't really have any small stuff to sacrifice in that instance, so I guess it's maybe better to sacrifice that than a Thrakkus, I guess, so. So we really need a creature to slow them down. This can't really block the Chain Devil, however. I think we have to kill Viconian now before it gets a bunch of stuff going here. Don't think we have much other choice. Armor of Shadows would have gotten us pretty good there, the 1 mana black combat trick with their treasure token mana, but if Viconia gets going, she is just going to take over the game, exiling and then specializing and getting, basically taking the cards from our graveyard or their graveyard, then playing them out with the specialized abilities that she has there. Because yeah, you can specialize, you can play stuff that has mana value 3 or less. So they could have gotten out some more goodies there, I think. I guess a Pilgrim, like, it's 3 mana or less, but there's still some good stuff that they could have played with that, I guess. Like the Pilgrim's Eye, getting them more land would have been pretty bad. So, Shardalon Dragon might be better here, but Thrakkus is the card that threatens them more, or not threatens them more, but is the one that we'd want to trade with the Chain Devil. So let's just go and play this one. We can trade it with the Chain Devil just to get rid of it. I guess we're not going to bother equipping this time around because we're probably going to trade with the Chain Devil. We kind of have to. They have lethal on board if we don't block them, so we have to do this. Yep, and that's GG. If they have Menace, we can't block the Chain Devil now, and they're going to win. So. Good game. Our ramping didn't really work out too well there. It was a risky keep for their opening hand. We just don't have enough early game plays to kind of slow down these. I mean, it's a decently fast format. Black, red, and white tend to be pretty fast colors in this format. They have far more 1-drops and 2-drops than the Dragon deck does, so. Alright, so I'll go ahead and move to the next match here, and hopefully we can kind of overcome the 1-2 deficit here that we're dealing with, so. I'll probably have to be a bit more judicious with what opening hand that I keep, because we need to get some early game stuff going, or ramp. I mean, this is probably the best we're going to be able to do. We don't really have red, but this can give us red mana with the Lantern. And then this can give green. So all we need is like black mana here, and then we'll be okay with the Lantern. Yeah, I think the Lantern makes this hand keepable because we can ramp in, we can fix with it. So that's probably the best we can do. And then we can turn to Young Blue Dragon to draw into something good. Yeah, that Chain Devil last time, that really kind of killed us. It's in a vacuum, not a great card, but if you have like lots of 1-drops and 2-drops that you don't mind sacrificing to the Chain Devil, and you go up against a top-end deck that doesn't have small stuff in it, then it's definitely going to be a problem for you, so. Scry and draw here. We could have left it up to see if maybe they might play around to undersimplify. I mean, this is pretty good with Thrakkus, so I guess we can keep this. Yeah, so you can double its power after equipping, and you can get in for a lot of damage potentially, so... let's go ahead and play out the green here and get out the ramping card so we can get the Thrakkus out as soon as possible here. So, oh, and I can also play the Dragonborn Looter. Alright, so let's do this. Let's get out something that we can either chump block with, or we can maybe loot with. Vial Duplication is looking really good with the Thrakkus, if we can get them into the zone here. Kind of get those on the highway. Okay, so they have their own black market connections. If I'd hazard a guess, they probably do the treasure token next turn and maybe drawing a card to try and ramp into something for free. Or just losing a couple of life for them isn't probably too bad in a black deck. So I think we go for the Thrakkus here and we just ramp into it. We play it, we never look back. Next turn we can do Fiend Lash Equip. I guess we have to draw red mana to Fiend Lash Equip. Let's go ahead and do this. I don't think that black has any hasty creatures to worry about. Vial Duplication does get worse if we lose our Thrakkus to removal, like a Grim Bounty here, but Young Blue Dragon is still a pretty decent target for the duplication, so we can still play Young Blue Dragon next turn if we end up losing Thrakkus to removal. So I guess Grim Bounty is the most likely removal. Okay, so they get that. We do get a red mana as well. Do we want to do Fiend Lash Equip to maybe the Looter instead and then force them to trade with it? I think we do that. Let's do Fiend Lash, and then we can do Dragonborn Looter Equip. So they're forced to trade because the Iron Golem has to block here. And then we deal 3 damage to their face. It attacks or blocks each combat if able, so we trade our 1-drop for their 4-drop, which is very, very good, and we get the Fiend Lash value. Alright, so this game has gone a lot better for us than most of the other games so far. I don't know if they had maybe a combat trick for 1 mana, but because they had their treasure token up there. I don't know if they want to lose life at this point, because Thrakkus can get past them pretty well with the Fiend Lash, because it has trample here, so they need like a Chain Devil here, and they can just sack the Chain Devil and we sack a Thrakkus. That kind of slows down our plan a bit. Grim Bounty, Deadly Dispute might be a play here to sack a treasure and get some card draw for them. Shambling Ghast would be a good chump blocker for them if they need something like that out into the field. Alright, so Surfhawk's a good one. They can... I guess they need 3 treasures to be able to specialize it this turn, though, unless they have another land that they haven't put out in the field yet. Maybe they're deciding on the color of the land that they want to play. Yeah, so that's on only their turn. They can't use that defensively. Maybe they have a combat trick here to deal with the Thrakkus. Maybe they have like a Dragon's Fire removal that they could use to finish it off. Which means that if we want to do duplication, we'd want to do it pre-combat in case they have removal, because this is sorcery speed. Dragon's Fire by itself, unless they have a dragon card to reveal in their hand, it wouldn't kill Thrakkus right away. It would only prevent us from attacking, basically. They don't have enough removal or enough mana for Grim Bounty, so let's just do duplication now. And I think we can still do the Fiend Lash Equip if we want to. I just want to do this before they use removal on it, presumably. Like Sewer Plagues, 3 mana, they can't cast that. Because I don't think that they would have removal. And then we're just going to Fiend Lash the Thrakkus, and then even if they kill it, we can deal a bunch of damage to them. It has Trample. Fiendlash will deal 10 damage to their face if they kill it. So if they're going to use removal, I mean, they have to kind of do it now. They might have a combat trick to help Servok block it, but now even if they kill the Thrakkus, then it still does 10 damage to their face, and we have them dead on board next turn. I don't know, they might even just leave the game here unless they have something really big. So that'll kill the Thrakkus, but we have the other one that can fly over the top next turn and kill them already. Okay, well, because they gave it double strike, they end up losing the game here. I don't know, like... Yeah, giving that double strike was a mistake. Maybe they just wanted to go out with style. I didn't even realize that part of the card. If they have double strike, then they end up doing damage to it twice. So, and that triggers Fiendlash twice. So, I mean, I guess maybe I need to reread Fiendlash. Maybe I'm misreading the card here. As it deals damage or whenever it dies. I keep forgetting that part. I think I was probably misreading the card, but we still won the game even despite my misreading of the card. So... I need to double check this real quick just to make sure. Whenever it's dealt damage, okay. So if they used a Dragon's Fire on Thrakkus, then it also would have dealt the damage as well. But Grim Bounty would have dealt with it. Okay. Alright, so their only out there was a Grim Bounty, essentially, to get rid of it without triggering the Fiendlash. So, alright then. Well, the more you know and the more you read the cards, the more knowledge you know about the game. So I... screwed up on my reading of the card there, but we still won the match even despite that. So I'm not perfect. You know, I do make mistakes, and I do misread cards sometimes. I do my best to make sure that I get it right, but you can't win them all, I guess. So you're not going to get everything right. No one's perfect, so I get that. This is probably a keep. We have Lantern of Revealing for the green mana for Thrakkus. We can ramp into it. Turn 2, Young Blue Dragon can scry and draw into something, so this is probably the best we can hope for with our deck. So turn 2, we can scry, draw with Blue Dragon, and then we can try and, if we're lucky, we can do turn 3 Lantern, turn 4 Thrakkus. Okay, Fireball is not necessarily great here. I'm going to threaten them with Undersimplify mana here, and then at the end of their turn, I'll scry with the Blue Dragon here. If I can make them think I have Undersimplify, then maybe they'll sort of slow the pace here and allow us to do our stuff. Oh, I should have... I screwed up. I should have done the Young Blue Dragon at the end of their turn, but that's okay. I clicked the button way too fast, so we'll just play this out with our mana because we have it. And if they want to use removal on that or play out a hasty creature to chump block, then that's okay. Alright, so this is an artifact and not an enchantment, so they can't remove that. Okay, so I could do Treasure Token and then Scry, because the Treasure Token would allow me to cast the Thrakkus next turn at the very least. Yeah, let's just go ahead and leave off our mana here, and the next time I'm going to get it right and do the end of turn plays here. I can make it look like I have Charm Sleep or removal spell handy, so, and they can't really attack into our looter. I mean, if they want to get rid of it, that's great. Like, if they have a combat trick, then whatever, I'll force them to use it. Yeah, I'd rather go ahead and have them do that now. Alright, so that's sorcery speed. Okay, so I should have played that on my own turn. Alright. The more you read the cards, the more knowledge that you have, ladies and gents, so that has been my issue, is just reading the cards, apparently, so gotta read the cards. So, don't have anything to use removal on right now. If I think that they have removal, I can just go Young Red Dragon, then do Thrakkus next turn, and have the Young Red Dragon eat the removal that they have. Probably the safer bet. I do have another Thrakkus, but I might trade the Thrakkus and do trample damage on them, so let's just go to do this. And just get out the flyer. I want to keep, well, do I really want to keep the treasure? I already have 5 mana and the green source. I guess we'll just do this now and make sure that it's sorcery speed, so we'll just use the treasure here to get the card draw aspect. That's actually not bad. We can equip that for the Young Red Dragon if it survives, so... Yeah, if we can draw cards of Young Red Dragon, that's not a bad plan either. Okay, so we're going to get double team. Gain some more life here as well. We're not going to block that because we're going to equip it with Goggles of Night. Yeah, if we draw an untapped land here, then okay, so we have some more mana to work with. So we have a total of 6. None of these are worth using Charmed Sleep on. They're not going to do much damage to us. They already get their value into the battlefield. So I think we just go ahead and do Goggles of Night, and we just get the card draw going and race them a bit. Let's see what we draw first, and then... Ooh, that's a nice juicy draw. Let's top that one. And, yeah, let's go ahead and end the turn here. I could have done Charmed Sleep to eliminate a blocker of theirs, but I think that there's going to be better targets to use that on. And they're only dealing 1 measly damage each turn, so... Now we have choices. This doesn't have haste, but that's okay. And we have 7 mana. We could do Young Blue Dragon maybe, and then... Yeah, I guess if they're going to use removal on something though, Dragonborn Immolator is better and it's still a blocker on the ground. Let's go ahead and see what we draw here first. And then we'll see what we want to play. That's not bad. We can discard the Charmed Sleep to that, actually. Because we don't have a good target for Charmed Sleep right now. We have the Fireball for removal, so... Let's go ahead and discard Charmed Sleep here and then draw some more. Okay, so we have Undersimplify that we can keep up with the treasure mana, or the blue mana, I mean. Next turn we can do Shardolin Dragon, and also maybe Dragonborn Immolator or Thrakkus and all kinds of stuff, so... I could play out one of them this turn. How much mana do I have? 5, I think. I could play them out and then lose out on Undersimplify mana, so... Safer play is just leaving up Undersimplify. We counter the big thing that they play out with all their mana. And then we can just get in next turn, draw some more cards, I think. Because we can win this race. If they're going to attack with Clerics, then we can win that race pretty easily and just draw cards. Alright, so now we got to decide. What do we want to play with all this mana that we have? Dragonborn Immolator makes a good blocker, and then we can go over the top of Shardolin Dragon at some point. Yep, and then this can go ahead and pump up the next dragon that I play if they have removal for it. So let's go ahead and do this thing first, pre-combat, and threaten with it. Maybe they'll go ahead and use removal on the red dragon. Guess not. Duplication is good here. We can duplicate Thrakkus and just get in there. So yeah, that's a good draw. We have a bunch of cards in hand, and we could play some, but I think the safe play is just leaving up Undersimplify. And, well, on the other hand, leaving up under Simplify means that they can just tap the extra 2 mana, maybe. We do have 5 mana. Maybe we can just play another Immolator and then still save 1 treasure token here. So now we can block both of the clerics, and we can also get in there for lots of damage next turn, potentially. Okay, so Rasad's not bad here. We only lose 1 dragon, basically. They might choose to attack here anyway, but if they do, then they have to trade with Rasad. Black Market Connections. Well, we can't really... We don't really want to play this now. We've already lost a bit too much life to do this, but... I mean, it does ramp, but we need the mana that we have right now to play stuff. We could just fireball the Rasad, and then if they use a combat trick, we can like undersimplify it maybe, or something like that, if they want to try and protect it. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. This is worth using the fireball on, so... We have 1 less blocker, another Immolator back out there. And let's get in there. Well, let's leave that back. We have enough mana to pump this, but we're just going to leave it back to block and go over the top. They might have had the 2 mana, 5 damage to target attacking creature or something like that. There's like a 2 mana white spell that does that stuff. Alright, so this is good. We can play a land, get the extra land out there, and then I still think I want to save the duplication for Thrakkus, so we'll do that. Black Market Connections will be good, but I don't want to lose life if I get in a racing situation here. If they play something big out. Okay, so they're not playing much, honestly. We have all the advantage right now. I think blue mana is okay there. We have Lantern of Revealing already, so we have splash mana for that. If I had a way to give Thrakkus haste, then I think we just win right now, but... Maybe what I need to do is I just need to attack and then have mana available for pumping if they want to trade the Dawnbringer Cleric or something like that with chump block here. So let's threaten lethal since we can pump our Dragonborn Immolators to get in there for extra damage. Let's see how they block here. They might have a combat trick or something that can kill an Immolator, maybe. Getting the card draw with the Young Red Dragon has really helped us out here to give us more options, so... Alright, so we can pump here and kill 2 of them, so I'm okay with this. Especially since they didn't get double team value yet. So let's activate that. We have plenty of mana to do that. If we pump it again, we don't have enough damage to kill both of the clerics, so I'm fine doing like a 2-for-1 here. And then I don't think that we would have been able to get enough damage in to be able to kill them. So if I pumped the other dragon there. Because I think I would have been able to pump it twice and do an extra 4 damage, which wouldn't be enough this turn, so... this is a dragon we can play, and then we can just get out an extra creature this turn and leave up mana for like undersimplify if we want to, but... Yeah, like an extra creature is probably still good enough here. Just extra gas in our hand. And then maybe just play the Young Blue Dragon since they know that we have it. We can still get lethal next turn, probably. And then I think that'll be the end of our turn, I think. We have full control over the match. There aren't too many cards that they could have that would... Yeah, there's not really anything that I know of that they would have been able to do to save them there, so... They could have gotten out lots of walking creatures, but we eventually wear them down with all the cards that we have in hand, so... So when the Dragon deck works, it really, really works, but if you go up against Hyper Aggro or the green, black, red, black sacrifice type cards that can try and remove your big dragons before they can get them going, then it's kind of a bad matchup, so... But we've gotten 3 wins with our nice little multicolored dragon madness, so we have enough gems to be able to do another draft in the future, so that's good news. More good news is that we can keep on playing and hopefully get 7 wins here, so let's see how the deck continues to do against all the other decks out here that probably have some madness. White was pretty open during the draft, so it's not surprising that we're going up against some white decks that people probably maybe pivoted into or just had lots of good cards available for that wheeled around to them. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording here. Oh, never mind. No need to pause. The opponent shows up like a magic trick out of thin air, you know. It's like the game heard what I was saying and it's like, all right, you want your opponent? Here you go. All right, so lots of lands isn't exactly great, but we have turn 2 Young Red Dragon into turn 3... Turn 2 Treasure into turn 3 Young Red Dragon, probably. And we have some decent mana here for stuff. We can maybe save the treasure if we want to for the blue mana for this. I think this is good enough for a keep, especially on the play. We can do the treasure token. We can do the treasure token turn 2 and then decide what we're going to do on turn 3. Let's just get our 3 mana, or our green mana. Our 3 mana? No, our green mana. Sometimes I have the Freudian slips that come up while I'm talking endlessly, so that'll draw them a card. And then we'll do the Young Red Dragon at the end of the turn here. Yeah, I guess I need to remember that the Young Blue Dragon is a sorcery speed effect, and I can't wait until the end of the opponent's turn to use it. That's kind of what I got wrong in one of my previous games where I thought about using it at the end of their turn, and it's like I couldn't because it's sorcery speed, and I forgot to read the card properly, so sometimes that happens. So we can do Windfall here and discard Charm Sleep because we don't have double blue right now, and then just try and build into something big. Because we can hard cast Young Red Dragon on turn 4 with 4 lands, so maybe we just do the Windfall here and get treasures for the blue mana for Vile Duplication and other stuff we could draw. And then we can discard Charm Sleep because we don't have double blue. So yeah, now we can at least play the Duplication, and we can play the Black Dragon as well in 2 turns if we draw another land, so that's looking good. Next turn, Young Red Dragon, and then we have 2 chances to draw a land for the Black Dragon on turn 5. That sounds pretty good to me. Or turn 6, I mean. Yeah, I think it'd be turn 6, if I'm remembering correctly. So yeah, we can go with the Young Red Dragon and try and go over the top here. Yeah, I think that's the best play. Let's just do this. Get the flying creature out. And if they use removal on it, then it is what it is, so. I don't think that we have any cards that dig through our library. We don't have any Pilgrim's Eyes. We don't really have any dragon-type cards that can do any of that. Yeah, we'll go ahead and erase them here if they want to do this. They might have removal for the Young Red Dragon, but if they do, then so be it. That's what it is. So I think we attack with Young Red Dragon first and see if they use removal on it, and then we can play our land and then the Black Dragon to kill the Archivist. Killing the Archivist isn't the best use of the Black Dragon, but it is a way to use it and just getting some value off of it. So I'm going to see if they use removal on this first. They are not. I mean, they have to have something here, so maybe I can hold back the Black Dragon if they... What can kill it? Patriarch's Humiliation can't kill it because they only have one creature. Dragon's Fire would only kill it if they have a dragon to reveal because it deals 3 damage. There is the 2 mana sorcery speed red card that can deal 4 damage to any target that they could have. But that's sorcery speed, and they can't kill the Black Dragon until after the effect triggers, basically, so... I mean, the safe play is probably just playing out another young red dragon and forcing them to have removal for some of this stuff, and then play the Black Dragon for something that's bigger for them. Let's just fly over the top, and then we can save the Black Dragon for later. We have removal, we have Black Dragon, we have another Immolator to get onto the field. We can deal 6 damage through the air compared to their 2 damage, so we're going to win the race if they want to try and do that. Red-white tends to be aggro, so I'm not sure what the plan is. I guess they might have some big stuff in this deck, and then just red-white sort of aggro with some dragon top end, I guess. Fireball can kill the red dragon, though, so I'm not too worried. So yeah, I think this turn we just do the good old Fireball, kill the red dragon, and race them here. We don't have open mana to save it, really, so we open them up for taking much more damage here. Save the treasures for the Black Dragon to deal with whatever else they get out. And if nothing else, we can still use it to deal with the Archivist and prevent it from attacking each turn, I guess, by killing it. We're winning the race. They have lots of cards in hand, but they haven't gotten out too many big things, or many creatures at all, really. They've given us time to get into our dragon plan, and they haven't done tremendous amounts of damage back to us, at least not at a high rate of speed. We have them dead in 2 turns, so they need to play something here, like a Hippogriff would be a good blocker for them. I mean, let's go ahead and sacrifice the treasure here, so we don't have a target for it. I guess a spell itself still triggers just fine, but yeah, it is what it is. Alright, so we can do... Black Dragon can kill one of these tokens, I guess. And it gives another blocker, so we win the race, essentially. I guess the problem is that we don't have the black mana now because they killed a treasure token. We can still do the young blue dragon here, and then we can scry and draw with it. Let's just go and play out the blue mana here. I could draw into black mana, so that could be a mistake, but if I were to do this, then drawing into black mana would be bad, but yeah, because I couldn't play the black dragon this turn. Well, let's just attack here. We have to try and race them in some way. And then I think the safest play is just getting out the creature. We could do this, and then we have 6 mana here, and we can still play the Dragonborn Immolator, so let's draw and then get out the Dragonborn Immolator. Blue mana. Do we want blue mana here? We don't really need double blue, we need black for the black dragon or something against this treasure, so let's bottom that. I think that one blue is going to be fine. Okay, so that's interesting. Yeah, if I'd done that pre-combat, then I could have equipped the Goggles of Night and drawn another card, but what we need right now is just getting a blocker on there to prevent them from killing us. So if they don't have an answer for the young red dragons, we just win. If they do, then they're in really good shape here. If not, then we just win. Okay, so they're going to win with the Fireball, I guess. Yeah, if they have removal with the Fireball, I guess they get there with the 6 damage, so that's just the way it is. I was banking on them not having a way to hit face and remove a creature, so it is what it is. They had what they needed, so it's what happens essentially when you play a risky deck and you have to try and win the race. So I could have tried playing out another creature there if I thought that they would have the fireball. I guess that was their only way to win, I guess, that turn. There's no other card that I know of, unless maybe they play removal and then they have a hasty creature to get in there. They could have done that too. Alright, well, 3 wins is still pretty solid, I guess. It was a risky dragon deck that didn't have any early game whatsoever, so the fact that I got 3 wins of a very risky deck is something I guess I'll just have to take and roll with it. All we can really do, I guess. So this, I think we have 2 packs from the reward for playing the draft, and then another one for like the daily reward type stuff, I think. So let's open some packs and see what we would pick in a draft here. Gale's Redirection is pretty interesting. It's a counterspell with added value. Again, blue is not really a strong archetype or color in this particular set, Baldur's Gate, but in Constructed, this would be a very powerful card to counter a spell and then basically steal it from your opponent. Yeah, this is a pretty strong card. So in Constructed, I would definitely love to have this, but in a sort of draft scenario, like I would hope to maybe pick something else. Like there aren't very many good options here, to be honest. Maybe the Flaming Fist Officer for the Blink deck might be something I could try. And then Pseudo Dragon Familiar would be decent for a dragon deck if it weren't like the pack one, pick one scenario. But Blind Spike is also this random sort of hand information 1-drop here that can play in any black deck. And you can play it turn 1 to get card information about the opponent's hand, I guess. So, and there's added value if they can't discard anything, then you can at least draw a card and cycle this out for 1 mana, which is good. This thing seems like it's a total build-around graveyard, like green-black graveyard type deck play, where you mill cards, and then you can go ahead and pump up creatures as time goes along into the late game. And then I guess Massive Disruption in that previous pack is decent in double team decks and is maybe more of a sideboard card in best of 3 against like demons and devils if they have like the 5 mana legendary Tiefling card or something. I forget. I don't know. I think only demons and devils wouldn't actually help against the Tiefling card, so alright. Enough of the Mace of Disruption. Let's go into this pack. Some decent cards, nothing that's really truly great. I know that some people like Stroke of Luck, some people hate it. This is a very hit or miss type of card. In Constructed, it's probably better where you're playing lots of similar cards they have multiple like copies of, basically. So you try and play 4 of like a bunch of the same cards, and you don't like distribute out, you know, different kinds of cards to be able to play. So you have like 4 copies of most of your cards in a Constructed deck maybe, and then maybe you draw multiple lands in a row. Grave Choice is interesting removal. Maybe more of a sideboard card if you're going up against like an aggro deck that uses lots of 1 and 2 drop creatures. Then this can be better as like a sideboard card in black. Red-black sacrifice decks would probably get some use out of this, even not on the sideboard. Tollkeeper's a halfway decent 2-drop 3/1 that can get you card information, kind of like the Mind Spike, but just in white. Dour Singer's a good aggro card. Incessant Provocation is good for Steel and Sack decks, which might be what Grave Choice is the kind of card that might want to be in that deck as well. So maybe you can take... I'd probably take Grave Choice and then hope to wheel the Incessant Provocation and try and maybe go red-black sacrifice. Safer pick and maybe like best of 1 format without having a sideboard for something like Grave Choice. Then maybe the Tollkeeper's better for just the white aggro deck. Red-white aggro is usually pretty good. And then for this pack, we have a nice little rare card here. Again, blue is not very good to be one of your main colors, but this is probably one of the best blue cards in the set. 5/6 flying with Ward 2 on its own is a very good card. And there are some ways to be able to ramp, not many, but some ways you could ramp in maybe red-blue with treasures, or maybe you have like an Orb of Dragonkind in your deck and you have lots of top-end cards. Maybe if you have like a Myconid or the 2-mana Dragon Scale Nurturer card, that can maybe ramp into this too if you're doing multicolor type decks. But yeah, it's a very good card, but probably not something you want to first pick. Maybe if you find it in pack 2 or pack 3 and you already have some good blue going around to you, then maybe you can take this in pack 2 or pack 3. If I was first picking though, I'd probably go with Dragonborn Immolator. It's just an excellent, good red card, good for top end sort of curve topper aggro. Good in the dragon deck. It can pump your creatures that you play out after it if it dies from like removal or trading it off. Improvised weaponry, not bad for removal. It can help you ramp if you're in a dragon deck or anything that you have top end in, like say red-green. Red-green would have enough top end to want to ramp into, and then maybe you can kill an aggro creature on turn 3 with this, like a 3/1 would be good. Then I guess Circle of the Land Druid's not too bad in the sort of green-black mill plan to get creatures and stuff into the graveyard and then get them out of there and get value from them. Also randomly gets you a land back. Gray Slot is medium. The other cards are just kind of medium. This can technically ramp. Guiding Bolt is a great sideboard card, but not really a card that you'd want in your main deck. But as you saw in my previous draft video, I think Guiding Bolt was an excellent sideboard card, so maybe in best of 3, I might take the Guiding Bolt on the wheel if I can get it. So, all right. So I thank everyone for watching here, and I know it's my videos are a bit more lengthy in nature, maybe compared to some other Magic the Gathering YouTubers. But I hope that you all enjoyed it all the same, and hope that wherever you are out there, that you're all having a very wonderful kind of end to the weekend here. And as always, just good and have a wonderful day. And as always, take care.